Hello guys! Hi guys! Hi chat! How's everyone doing? Well, I always do stream late. Glad you noticed that for you. Well, hold on. Blah blah blah. Dun, dun, dun. Right. Hi everybody. Hi Adentala. Hello Akita. Hello Petito. Hello. Oh, Fontainian. We have a Fontainian over here. Hope you don't resolve. Hello, Sword. Hello, Petito. Oh, I just said hello, Petito. Hi, I'm doing great today. Hello, Yunichi. Welcome to the stream, everybody. How's everyone doing? I hope everyone's doing good. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Your voice seems. Is it weird today? Okay, hold on. Let me check my microphone. It happens sometimes. Oh, yeah. It's a little off. Well, this should be better. Hi, everyone. Is this better? Okay. Well, I think it is better. Well, sometimes it happens. Streamlabs goes crazy and it detects the wrong microphone, even though it's plugged in. But it should be fine now. Hopefully, it should be fine now. How's everyone doing today? We're working on. I worked on like some. We back to normal. Okay, nice. I am working on some like 3D objects because like honestly, I can't be bothered to like draw everything by hand this time. I have quite a lot that I want to put in like the background, so I resorted to using 3D models. Hopefully that would work. And I'm planning to do the a little bit of a background and the hopefully base shadows today, like base grayscale shadows today, and then hopefully that all works out. I don't know. Stream hopefully maybe 2 hours, something like that. Okay, right. I thought about doing like this planet idea, but I feel like it's a little bit cluttered, so I might just go ahead and delete it. Mem 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 mem. That's how Cyrene talks. It's mem 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 mem. I would like to know what Cyrene had in her head when she was mem and then she just started talking like memmy mem 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 mem. What goes on her head? What goes on her head? I don't look like a new brush. Is this good? Ooh, wait, hold on. Kind of interesting. Interesting. Okay. Well, that's definitely a brush. Okay. I don't know how to work with the background right now, but I'm just thinking about like maybe just doing grayscale for now. Mem is so cute. I know. Memmy mem, mem. Hi, Miame. No thoughts, just mem. No thoughts, just fluff. Memmy mem, just fluff. Mem. Ooh, hold on. How do you fix? Ooh. Dun dun. I'm thinking of doing like a gradient in the background. I'm just thinking of the texturing right now. Hmm. Hi, Geech. How you doing, Geech? Just came to drop by. Hope you're having a good day. Thank you. I hope you had a great day too. Slept past my afternoon online class. You're cooked? It's not that cooked, okay? I've slept through the whole of like my morning classes. I've slept through like 3 classes when I was in college. So you're not that cooked, okay? Usually when I do have presentations, I have like 10 alarms just in case. Just in case I don't wake up in time, I have like 10 alarms to wake me up. The art looks really great, even though it isn't colored. I'm thinking of doing flowers on the floor, but then I don't feel like doing the flower yet. I think I will do the flowers in the coloring process. Most probably, yeah, most probably. I mean, I don't know, but I think so. Okay, hold on. Okay, let's see. Man, I'm so good for Lohan and Lecco. I have 0 proofs save the night. We can only get 60 pulls from the next version. Gosh, I just noticed today, like I just heard it today, but like, have you guys heard Lohan's JP voice? Holy shit, dude. Look. Like, I look his character. I really love his character. Okay, from what he is already, I love his character. And I love his design too. And if he was standard, which he was revealed to not be, I was so ready to get him from like anniversary selector or anything. But then now I'm considering if I'm gonna pull for him because I feel like he's probably gonna end up in like Monster Chronicle banner. In fact, I feel like they're releasing Lohan and Nicole, or like probably Lohan only, just so he can end up in the Chronicle banners. But anyways, I was thinking about pulling for Lohan now because of his JP voice. It's so freaking good. I really want to pull for him now, but like, thing is, I literally have Skirk already, and Skirk is like a burst sub DPS in my team. So I've been thinking about it. I should pull for him, and I'm like, I'm so excited for him. Hello, Limity. Welcome to the chat. Welcome to the chat from Twitch. Welcome. It's your first time here. How are you doing? I hope you've been doing good. Welcome to the chat. Hi, Ataki. Gonna tag you in story after seeing your art. Wait, is it on today? Was it even on today, or is it on tomorrow? Oh gosh, I really wanna be in Hong Kong in person. Gosh, but I mean I'm not. But yeah, I wish. Anyways, as I was saying, gosh, now I really feel like pulling for Lohan just because of his JP voice. Like, have you guys heard it? Oh my gosh, now I want to pull for him so bad. Man, I'm gonna simp for him just because of his JP voice. Does that make sense? Tomorrow? Tomorrow! Ooh! I'm excited, to say the least. I am very much excited. I've been thinking about doing like actual oil style for a while now, like, but then I don't know. I don't feel too comfortable with like switching my style, but I probably should. It's not like I'm making a lot of money off of this anyways. It's like more like my hobby anyways. So maybe I should switch up my like art style a bit. Ooh, that would be fun. I've been thinking about streaming on Twitch for a while, and I currently am, but it's like I don't know how to work with the algorithm on Twitch because like I mean, for one, I'm not very familiar with Twitch algorithm. For two, I don't know what to tag. Like, what makes people come to my stream? I'm like so confused right now. But hey, maybe it will work out in a while. Maybe, who knows? Ah, this is the white hair part. Gotta work on this. Ah, she's beautiful. Yapping about Cyrene while I draw Cyrene. Cyrene. Rini. I wonder how they came up with like character names in English. Like, you guys figure? Okay, like I figured that they probably came up with like characters like Saridra. They probably came up with the English name or something. Like, I feel like it's probably both ways. They probably did come up with the English name before the Chinese, or they also could have came up with the Chinese before the English, because it sounds more like an English name than a Chinese name, but who knows. But for characters like Cyrene, I'm 100% sure they definitely have came up with the Chinese name first. For one, it's a Chinese game, so it makes sense. For two, Cyrene's Chinese name is Siglin or Celian in Mandarin, which has a very poetic meaning and fits her character a lot. So I was just wondering, how did they even come up with like the name Cyrene? They probably pulled it off some like Greek scripture or something. I don't know. Hi 07, how you doing? How you doing today? Are you good? It's just grind long hours. Yeah, I don't feel like switching art styles, but I probably should. Now I don't have art blog and posting blog. Ooh, sweet to hear. Well, have you posted anything after the art blog at all? Or are you still kind of like stuck in there? I mean, I hope you kind of worked on it. Dun. You have to go real soon because you have because tomorrow you have ice skating. It's in the morning. Oh, ice skating. Okay. Well, I mean, whether you're staying or going, I wish you have a really good night or day. But ice skating sounds really cool. I want to go ice skating too. Any places to recommend? Any ice skating places recommended? You're good? Nice to hear. Hi, Hina. I missed you so much after I missed 3 streams of yours. It's okay, calm down. It's not that much. Post that you may ship edits. Ooh, you may ship. I didn't know it was like a genre. I didn't know it was called you may ship in English. But I guess it makes sense. I've never really paid attention to edits because, like, I don't know. Oh right, guys. So if you're in Brisbane, I've been accepted into Brisbane Illustration Fair in July. I'll be there in Sunday. I think it was 19th of July. So I will be there. Feel free to come visit my stall. I will be selling some of that merch. And I would probably be selling traditional art too. So if look, I don't think I'm gonna be posting my traditional art on like at least my main account, like the bigger account. The smaller account maybe, like Hinadawa, I might post on that account. But the bigger account, probably not. So if you do wanna buy like traditional art, and I don't just mean copies of it, I'm actually selling the original canvas painting of myself. Like, I mean, those I drew. I'm selling the entire canvas, the original copy out. And if you want to buy it, like, if you want to buy my traditional art, feel free to visit me. I don't know though, like I have no experience in selling traditional art and I don't know how to price them. So I probably would be asking people for some pricing advice later on, but who knows. In Brisbane? I mean, I live in Brisbane, so I do attend quite a lot of Brisbane events. I am attending Supernova, Brisbane Supernova in November. And then, I don't know, if I get accepted into Oz Comic Con Brisbane, then I will be attending Oz Comic Con Brisbane. If not, then no. If I don't get accepted, then unlucky for me. Where you're right now, Brisbane. So I mean, I don't know. Is Brisbane like a not well-known city or something? It's in Australia. Brisbane's probably like, I don't know. Wait, is there anywhere else that's called Brisbane at all? I mean, the only one I know is like there's apparently a state in America called Georgia, which I don't know, because I knew about Georgia, the country, before I knew about Georgia, the state. And I was like so confused when people told me that Georgia was in America, because I was like, wait, isn't Georgia a country? How is it in America? And then people started telling me that, oh, Georgia is actually a state in America too. And I was like, oh. Because I've always went by my life knowing that Georgia was a country. Just a little fun fact, I guess. The US states I know are like Florida, California. Was San Francisco in California or like another state? I don't know. It's probably a city or something. Now I know about New York City, Washington, Ohio, Alabama, Alaska, Arizona. Is Las Vegas in... I don't think Las Vegas is a state, no? It's a city. I don't know. Like Brisbane, I know is the Brisbane where I live. I think so too. I don't think there's a single other place called Brisbane, except the actual city in Australia. I mean, not that the other places aren't actual, but like, I only know about Brisbane as like the city in Australia. I'm a little excited for Brisbane Illustration Fair, but I don't know what to sell. I'm probably gonna sell original copies of like my canvas art and maybe something else. I thought Belgium was the capital city of Germany on Wednesday. Really? I only knew that Belgium invented fries instead of France. No, I don't know why it's called French fries, but apparently fries weren't French. Fries are Belgian. So I don't know. Actually, I really want to. Well, I want to visit a lot of countries and cities and places, but like Belgium's one of the places that I really do want to visit because I saw like some of the architecture photos and this and that, and I was like, oh, this looks really cool. I want to go to Belgium. My live stream is to go to like the dream country I really want to go to is Austria. I want to go to Vienna. I want to go to Salzburg. Most importantly, I want to go to listen to concerts in there. But for one, plane tickets to there is very expensive. Europe's also very expensive to stay in and eat out. And I don't want to be, I don't want to pay for a trip, like go on a trip and pay nothing. Because like if I'm going on the trip, might as well enjoy by spending money. But then at the same time, like I don't have the money to spend on it, and a concert's probably very expensive in the Golden Hole or something like that. So that's gonna stay a dream for now. I don't know. Gosh. Oh, I feel like it would be an ideal place if I ever had like a boyfriend in the future. I would definitely plan on going to like Austria with like my boyfriend or something. Always enjoy listening to me. Thank you. I mean, I hope it made your day. Every time you stream, thank you. I mean, I hope that my streams make everyone's day feel better. I mean, make them better, I guess. Feeling better, feeling more up to it. I wish people on Twitch also watched me. But I'm kind of starting up on Twitch, so whatever. I guess my algorithm on Twitch is also kind of wrecked because I used to stream on Twitch and I've been like off of the platform for so long. They probably don't know what's happening and they probably don't want the algorithm to help me. Maybe? I don't know. Well, I will go to BAF. I'm determined to do so. Well, entrance fee is very cheap, and it's in John Rate Pavilion, which means that, okay, unless I'm misinformed or unless the station's not running anymore, I think you can go to there by metro. Oh no, not metro. I always forget that metro in Brisbane means bus instead of like the metro how they do it in Sydney or like any other country at all. You can go there by the it's not called underground either. This is not Britain. What's it called? Like train. Oh yeah, the word train. I literally thought of every possible combination describing a train before I thought of the word train. I described it as metro and underground. But anyways, you can go there by train into the exhibition center station, I think. As far as I'm concerned, there's a station there that says exhibition. I don't know if it's in work because I personally have never been able to stop at exhibition station, so I don't know if that station actually does exist, but if it does, you will be able to get down by there. Yeah, it's just in Brisbane Showgrounds. It's like, I think there's like a yearly event in Brisbane, like the Farmers event or something. I think it's also held there. So, it's like a shed. The Genre Pavilion's like a shed. There will not be any ACs. I've been to Biff twice, and honestly, the biggest complaints I have about their events, okay, their staff are really friendly, they're really helpful, but like, because like I have worked with like really horrible staff before. There's like some events where they're just literally known for having horrible communication and stuff, and Biff is not one of them. Luckily, they are pretty good with their communications, but like, gosh, their venue, which I know is not their problem, just doesn't have AC. And if you're a customer, you're gonna be fine, trust me. Because you're just gonna be there for like at most, 2 hours at most. And it's probably not gonna take you 2 hours. At most, it's probably gonna like cost you 1.5 at most. And we're talking about at most. Because it's a pretty small venue. But like for artists, especially that we have to like set up a day before the actual events, especially if you're like in Saturdays, gosh, it's unbearable. Luckily, as far as I'm concerned, July is winter in Australia. I must specify this. So I think I'm gonna be fine. Like if it was summer, cause like last year I went there at like April or something. Did I? No, last year I did go there at like summer. I forgot the exact month, but wow, it was horrible. Cause I was in like that one stall that was like most far away from the fans, and I was sweating the whole time. I was just sweating so much in the John Pavilion shed, and I was like, gosh, this is horrible. I'm not coming back to this event. But then, okay, sales didn't really do too well, but I felt that the community was pretty nice, and it's always a great honor to participate in like a local artist event. So I went back anyways this year, and I felt pretty happy this year. I was like, this is pretty fun. Sure, sales are far worse compared to like Supernova, just because for one, the event isn't as big. For two, my stuff is usually anime, which probably isn't what the genre is about. So, which is why I've been thinking about selling traditional art this time on canvas. Yeah, and for two, the marketing's not as big. But still, I felt like, hey, this is a local event. This is very fun. I want to participate in it more. But yes, every time I go to Brisbane Illustration Fair, I always have the anxiety of losing money because it usually goes about like 70% in the events. Then I actually start earning back the tabling fee. And that's without calculating stuff like gas, cost to print out the items, this and that, blah blah blah. Like gosh. But I will still attend probably. Because it's fun, as I said. Dun, 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 dun. Thinking about how I should work with like the lighting in here. You gotta go. Bye. Bye bye, Toto. Thank you so much for being in the stream today. Hope you have a great night. Hina, have you ever got any art requests from anyone? Commissions, yes. Art requests, I don't do unpaid art requests because like I want to draw whatever I want to draw, and then even if it's a commission, there's a pretty good chance I might not accept a commission. It really depends on one, do I have any projects at hand? Two, am I working on something else? Three, if the character in request fits my style. So it really depends. Like I sometimes get like commissions that I just know that I wouldn't do a good job at drawing them, so I just turn it down. Or maybe some like that, some commissions that I can't work on it halfway through anymore, then I would usually just send whatever I have on hand, and then I would refund them the commission fee, because I was like the one that couldn't work on it anymore. Yeah, that's usually how my commissions go, because things happen. So thinking about the background, I've been really stuck on it right now. Gosh. Oh, maybe I should put the bird cage in front. Is it this layer? No, not this. Wait, what? Wait, hold on. Hina, when did you start drawing? As a kid, but then I kind of started locking in digital art like about 5 to 6 years ago. Yeah, about that time. Hi, hello, Art. So how are you doing? It's been a while. How you doing? You just returned to the stream after a long hiatus? Ooh. Well, welcome again. Hope you've been doing great. I hope you took enough break. Been good working on a lot of artworks. Ooh. Are they like fan arts, like commission works, fan art, or just like OC art, something cute maybe? Almost done with an OC sheet. Ooh, an OC sheet. Dude, I've always been too unbothered to like actually release a full sheet of like my OC. I've only had it on like my Instagram because like I didn't really care that much about my OCs because just algorithm hates it. And I don't have like a very complete story released. Like I have it all somewhere in the like I actually have like a full story, but I just never really released it. Never been bothered. Maybe I should draw my OC sometime again. If I can count, this will be the fifth stream to calm myself calm down again from anger show of not drawing anatomy properly. It's okay. Well, it happens. I don't draw anatomy well too. I've been thinking about taking art classes recently. But like I don't know where to take art classes because like obviously I can't just walk up to any like art class nowadays. Because like well, I'm not trying to say that like I'm very good at art, but then at the same time I'm over the bar where it's like your normal art student, like your normal hobby art class expectations. I'm definitely above that, and I couldn't just walk into like any art classes now, and so I should be looking for like master classes and stuff like that, right? But for one, I'm also not good enough for master classes. I'm not at that level yet, so I'm kind of stuck in between. For two, master classes are like really expensive, and like, yeah, does it look like I have the money to go to master classes? Girl, no. So I've been thinking about going to art classes, but then at the same time, I don't know. I don't think there's any art classes that's suitable to me. I've been thinking about going to like art college too. Like I'm in college right now, right? And I could totally probably I don't know how it works, but like I'm pretty sure in college you can take like for your electives or minor, you can probably take like something that's not your degree, and art is not my degree. And I thought that maybe I could take like one or two art electives, but like none of them looks good. Like I wanted to do fine art, but then at the same time, all the courses in this trimester, like I mean in the next trimester, because my trimester is ending right now, looks ass. They just are ass. They just aren't the courses I'm looking for, which makes me realize that maybe I really ain't made for fine arts. I should be glad that I made it in design instead, I guess. I've only been to art classes for only 19 days of 8 years. Wait, what does that mean? 19 days of 8 years? So you've been to art class for a total of 19 days, but like what's over 8 years then? Wait, do you carefully calculate how many days you've been to class over the span of 8 years? Because that's crazy work. How do you just remember how many days you've been to class? I'm sure I've skipped more classes in a year than you did go to drawing classes in 8 years. Started drawing recently, I want to ask? Yes, ask away, and welcome to the chat. Yuri in love, nice username by the way. Are you a new viewer? I don't think I've seen you in my chat before. Well, welcome. Ask away. I am happy to answer any question as long as I can. Like if they're in my specialty or if I could answer them, because I don't want to give misinfo and stuff. How do I get more confident in drawing? Oh gosh, I was just talking about like if I could solve the question at all, and because like I was thinking about that about myself too recently, because I felt like there's obviously a lot of things that I'm missing in drawing too, and confidence one of the things that I genuinely felt like I truly was missing too. So I'm in the trust me, I'm in the same boat as you are. Honestly, I just feel like, look, I think it's really hard to actually get confident in yourself. And pretty much, I find that the only way, like, look, if you're someone who doesn't get confident easily, as well as displayed, you have this problem. So obviously, you might be a person who doesn't really get confident easily. Then the realistic only way is really just to improve, because as you improve, like every time you draw something new, for me it's this headshot right here, I think this looks good, right? Then I feel confident because I improved, this looks good, I have improved so much, I feel confident now. It's really just to improve, but then at the same time, if you're not confident, you're not gonna improve. So I'd say probably like start referencing other artists, try to integrate their like maybe coloring style, eye drawing style, line art style into your own artworks. Try to like copy their artworks as a reference. Of course, if you copy their artworks, don't claim it as your own, but like as a practice, it's bloody good. Even like as a practice, you can trace artworks, but don't post it online, for one. For two, even if you did, just say you obviously declare that you traced it. I think that's probably gonna help with your muscle memory a lot in practicing. So that's probably how you improve. And in turn, when you improve, you get a little more confident. Every time I want to draw Yuri, I get scared. How do I overcome that fear? Okay, so it's probably a problem. So you're okay with drawing like single person drawings. So maybe your problem is drawing drawing two characters instead of one. That's what I'm getting. And honestly, I have the same issue because I'm not really good with like drawing character interaction. Then I feel like probably like if you're into Yuri, right? Then obviously like the very honest answer is just like what I said, reference people. So like for you, you probably want to read more Yuri manga because you want to draw Yuri, right? So in order to get the maybe natural movement or like something that has attention in it, you might want to start reading more Yuri, get some more like pose references, or even search online. If you're using CSP, there's tons on the marketplace. If you're not, on Pose Maniac or like Line of Action, something like that, like pose apps online, there will be tons of like couple references photos. On Pinterest, there will be a lot as well. For me personally, the thing I'm most not confident in is capturing tension. So probably that will help you improve. To be honest, it's easy for me, but I try to forget about it. Even though it's been 8 years and it still haven't gone away, it's still better for me because I got better and better at drawing. Oh, do you mean like your art classes? I mean, I've really been thinking about going to different sort of classes. I mean, I really want to go to music class, but okay, look, I can't afford music class. I love music for sure, but it's not like I can afford music classes, so like please, you know those like scenes in movie where like someone just walks past and then recognize that, hey, this kid has some potential, please make that me. I want to be that kid that just somehow has like a teacher walking past them and the teacher thinks like, hey, this guy has like some potential. No, not art classes, not anymore. I totally understand what you said. Okay, I feel like that was sarcastic. Correct me if I'm wrong, but because like, look, I feel like instead of saying how you can improve your own mentality and being more confident, I think for my own experience, as I grew up, I kind of realized that like, for one, confidence is about like if you're happy with yourself. So like, you know, the whole thing about, oh, just dress up how you want to instead of trying to meet others' expectations. Just like any other thing in life, okay? Just do what you want instead of meeting other people's expectations. And by doing so, you're a confident person because you don't get affected by what others say. So I think that's kind of similar in art. It's more so about your own like improving in your own self, like as you progress, focusing on yourself, your own skills, your own maybe like just like what I said, fashion, instead of like trying to compare yourself to others or like trying to think, how do I be more confident? Instead, it's like how like instead of thinking like, how should I make myself feel more confident? What should I tell myself to understand like how should I tell myself to be confident? How should I like fulfill my own confident, like lack of confidence, the question probably would become something like, okay, so what makes me feel confident? The answer, instead of praising, would probably be like self-improvement, like improving in art. So then the question actually boils down to rather, how do you improve in art? Does that explain the question? Like, I know this isn't totally like an artist's answer, like not in a very art-esque of things, but I think that's like a general answer to a lot of, how do I be confident in this and that, I guess. But yes, like I do struggle with like confidence in strokes and like confidence in coloring, and that's something that will be improved by muscle memory, which I like mentioned as well by practice and probably referencing other artists as well. How to improve in art? I'd say so. Of course, if you want to be a more confident person, then just try to tell yourself that, hey, you're doing great, no need to compare yourself with others. And also, like, are you doing art as a hobby? Are you doing art as a career? Because if you're doing it as a hobby, frick everything, dude. Frick anyone who tells you anything. But if you're making like cash on art, you want to develop it as maybe a side job, a side hustle, a career potentially, then yes, then the way you would feel confident is probably improving your skills. But if you're like a hobbyist, I don't care about making money, then like, girl, you do you. Like, honestly, don't let anyone else deter you. So you have to get good? Depends. Generally, yes, but then at the same time, that's only my my point of view, and I have to note that I am making a little bit of money off of drawing, so it's my side hustle. Because look, I'm gonna be really honest. With how the economic is looking and the job market is looking in any country ever, and with how AI is now in the job market, they're replacing us. Look, the chances of you achieving a dream is higher than you getting a job. And like, look, it doesn't matter what degree you freaking get now. Whether it be the art degree, humanities degree, STEM degree, you're gonna end up unemployed. So what I'm doing is basically, I'm gonna try to achieve my dreams, because I know I'm gonna be unemployed anyways. So, so I wanna get good and feel confident, because I genuinely treat this as kind of like my side hustle, my actual career in heart. But for you, if you're a hobbyist, then don't stress too much about it. If you try to tell, like, look, don't sink in these, like, arrogance, but then at the same time, just tell yourself you're doing good, because you're a hobbyist. You don't have to be as good as the professionals, this and that. But what if I compare it with myself? Look, comparing with yourself is probably something that you will find a hard time digesting with, because like, if you're comparing yourself with others, then it's easy to solve. Just find something that others are not getting, okay? If you want to compare, right, then do it with, countering it. But then if you're comparing it to yourself, then you're probably comparing to like some artwork you drew a year ago. And honestly, I feel you, because like, when I look back to the artworks I've done in the past, especially in high school, where I get a lot more time to invest in art. Like, I skipped uni entrance exams, okay? So I had a lot more time. Definitely, I at times really feel like I was just doing a lot better in art than when I was a little younger than I am right now. But yeah, it's really hard to get out of that. But at the same time, maybe you can think of it as like, you just happen to be in a different time of life. So, okay, wait, hold on. I like how I always end up giving life advice instead of art advice. Like, this might sound weird, but I think they go both hand in hand, okay? Life and art. You know that one graph is like, where it's like proficiency? Oh no, it's like confidence and proficiency. You know this one graph? Where it's like proficiency low, then you're probably here, and then a little bit beginner's level, your confidence skyrocket, you start to correct others. And then you start to learn more, and then you start to drop in confidence because, hey, you realize that, girl, I'm not that good. So you get to like this beginner phase, and then this is like probably the middle point. And then now you're intermediate. You're here, you're intermediate. And now you're higher intermediate or semi-professional. then you're gonna drop to here. Your confidence is gonna be in here because you start to realize like, gosh, why is my art better when I was an intermediate? Why is other people's artwork better? Then as you go, you probably have a little more confidence as you get to be a professional. But this is gonna take a long time. So this is, this kind of like the learning curve, like the proficiency and confidence curve. I find this to be very relevant in art too, just like any other aspect in life. But it's like, if you compare yourself to yourself, compare yourself with yourself, I guess, then you're probably comparing yourself to another time of your life, which, look, I don't know if you are right now, but if that's the case, then I would like you to remind yourself that's because you're growing as your art skill goes. Even if you felt like your past artworks are better, you probably only got worse in your completed artwork because you were actually starting to focus more on fundamentals. You were going back and forth to practice the fundamental skills, so you didn't have enough time to like try to over render your artwork. So that's why like your overall piece looks worse. It's not because your skills got worse. It's because you are actually improving, and during the improvement, you're gonna have to sacrifice like the rendering or maybe the shapes because you want to focus on something else. So it might be true that your artwork is getting worse, but then you're probably in this phase of life. So that's why. Just remind yourself that you're at somewhere else and you're not the same person as you were because you were improving, and that's the reason why you felt a little like worse than how you were. Does that make sense? How long have you been drawing? Traditionally I've been drawing since a kid. I went to hobby classes as a kid, and then I've been drawing ever since. I never gave up. Well, I did. Sometimes I take breaks. And then digitally, I've known about digital art since I was in primary school, like senior primary school. So probably like when I was maybe 10 or 11 years old probably. And then I had a phone when I was 11. Well, I don't get to actually keep the phone, but like, primary school stuff. I get to draw on my phone sometimes, and my mom was like, you know what? Okay, fine, you get to draw. So I drew with Ibis paint with a finger on my phone. And then when I went to high school, I think starting from the last year of junior high school, so as I went to senior high school, I actually started to lock in on digital. I think I was probably about like 13 at the time when I actually started to learn more about digital and started to lock in. And then as I went in, AI became like a new thing, and then I started using AI in my art, and I just edited some AI and like added my own stuff and then claimed it as my art. And then after that was like probably when I was like 14 or 15. And then a year later I was like, you know what, that was so unnecessary, and like that was so like that meant nothing at all. That was so meaningless. So then I gave up the whole like AI thing. So then I dropped it. Then I think I took a half-year break or like a 1-year break. And then I went back into art without any of like the AI stuff, and then I started again from the fundamentals. So I went in like digital art a year, and then used AI for like a year, and then claimed it as my own for like a year or something like that. And then I dropped it, and then I took a break for a year. And then after that break, I came back, fresh start, no AI, no tracing, no assist, and then I came back, fresh start, started everything on scratch again. So that was probably where I actually did start my journey. Well, there was some, before, but I'd say that's maybe where I truly started my journey as an artist. And then at that time when I came back and started again, I was probably about 16 years old, and I'm 18 now. The story is really complicated. I've always told the whole like using AI, tracing AI, referencing AI story in my streams, because well, look, I don't feel happy about telling that story because obviously I should be ashamed, and obviously I should be ashamed of claiming it as my own, like referencing AI, tracing AI, doing edit to AI and claiming it as my own artwork and posting it online. And at the same time criticizing full AI artworks, because I felt like, hey, I did some human input in it than it's mine, because like I did some stuff in it, and I was like also criticizing AI at the time. So that was really really like really hypocritical. So then like a year later I dropped it because like look, that was obviously not good. Well, at the time I just really didn't realize, like I didn't realize that it wasn't good, and I just thought that hey, whatever that makes me like that helps me produce good art. Well, I've told this story a lot of times, and then yeah, I dropped it, and then I came back, and then I was like, you know, I'm not gonna use AI anymore, because like, what's the purpose of art if I used AI and just skipped everything in between? Like, you know, whether you like it or not, if you want to be a good artist, you're gonna have to practice the fundamentals, and using a tool to help you skip it is not gonna help you at all. That's like that's my conclusion. So I came back, fresh start, and then deleted all of the AI content I had, especially, you know, hypocritical stuff and like AI artwork stuff. And I came back, fresh start, whatever. And then that was when I started moving on to Instagram, and then eventually practicing more and then improving more in actual artwork. And I started making tutorials, and that's how my YouTube started. Does that make sense? Like, look, I definitely don't have like the cleanest background compared to probably a lot of artists nowadays. But then at the same time, I would rather be honest to admit my mistakes and what I've done. Cause like, well, I've done it, so like, I gotta be honest and own up to it. And, you know, I also feel like it probably would serve as a good, like, as a good, like, reminder to everyone that, well, I've tried it for you and it didn't work out. Because one, it's not good to be a hypocrite. Two, it literally does not help you in improving art. So there's a living, I guess I'm a living example of that. Well, call it redemption or call it like anything. Anyways, I moved on from that. I feel like AI is kind of dying. See, the thing about AI is like, I don't think it's dying, but at the same time, I hope it is, because like, look, a little bit of hope, if you may, and if I may cope. It's probably like when, like, okay, so look, whenever new technology comes out, shiny, unimaginable stuff that only happens in movies back then, we're gonna be really excited about it, and we think that it's gonna replace whatever industry there is. For example, VR was new, and then, well, it was for it wasn't very new now. It was new when I was a kid, okay? Yeah, I'm old. VR was new, and then we thought that it was gonna replace the gaming industry, because like, we all thought that like, hey, who's gonna play these kind of like old games? Who's gonna play Minecraft now that VR is a thing? Like, everyone's just gonna go into that more immersive gameplay, because like, games are made to be immersive anyways. But then there's one thing that nobody thought about at the time, which was like, man, we really just prefer old style games, don't we? We really just prefer playing a block game. We really just prefer a game that's not immersive. We really just prefer a game like League of Legends, whatever you play, okay? It's the feeling of, you know, simplicity. It's the feeling of not being so immersed that you feel like you're looking around and your POV changes realistically. It's that feeling which makes gaming magical, which makes it feel actually interesting. And then there came, well, we all thought that it was gonna replace the gaming industry. It did not, because of the same reason, like a lot of different reasons, and like the whole feeling thing that I just talked about. Well, it then like it then became a little less relevant. Like, to be honest, look, VR is not irrelevant, but then compared to the hype it did get in the past, it's quite irrelevant now. Dare I say, it's pretty dang irrelevant now. Like, no one's really treating it as with much hype as we did before, because now the new thing is NFTs. After like the whole VR thing, we had NFTs. Then we thought that NFTs are gonna freaking replace artists, because like, now we are gonna slap on like some virtual currency with like on some artworks and just mass produce it. Like, who's gonna care about like real life artworks anymore now? And then NFT was so big at the time that a lot of artists were doing it too because it was seen as the future of art. It didn't. It died after a few years. And so I was kind of coping and hoping that AI would be a similar thing where it will still persist, it's gonna be relevant, but then it's not gonna be as relevant as how it was the first years that it came out. And we are very much in the first years that AI came out, because AI is still expanding, is still developing, and then we're pretty much in the early years of AI. We don't know how it's gonna go. We don't know how it will actually develop as. The thing is, there's a core difference between like, especially VR and AI, is the difference of accessibility. See, VR was not very accessible, dare I say. Headsets were very expensive. Look, no normal person will be able to afford a $1,000 VR headset with hand hand captures for their entertainment. The thing is, AI is accessible economically, and both accessible. Like, it's actually accessible and also economically accessible. So unless you work in a company or anything, you're probably not gonna use up like all the tokens. You probably, and like, you're gonna be, well, it's not gonna cost you a lot, I think. I mean, I don't know. I haven't used AI in a long while. I don't even use ChatGPT at all. The only AI I actually use is like the Google AI overview, which you can't even remove. But anyways, tokens probably don't cost that much, I guess. Probably why companies are replacing human with AI is probably, I don't know, tokens don't cost that much at all. That's just my guess. So it's like economically accessible too. So that's the main difference. For one, it doesn't only apply to the gaming industry. For two, it's economically very accessible and technologically very accessible too. How it's gonna unfold, I don't know. And if I'm gonna be unemployed, probably. And if so, if everyone's gonna get unemployed anyways, what's the best solution? Go chase your dreams, because anyone's gonna freaking end up unemployed anyways. Your university degree is gonna be useless. So what now? Well, now's the best time to chase your dreams. VR was like a different medium. AI is a whole new thing. Yes, it is. Thing is, the AI is pretty ineffective. Yes, if you are self-employed. No? Okay, you know what? The answer to both is yes. It's ineffective both if you're look, I'm instead of like telling you AI is AI is bad. But then am I gonna tell you that AI is 100% bad? No, because I don't want to be a TikTok girl, okay? I don't want to be like, okay, there's a reason why I'm on YouTube and Instagram instead of TikTok, okay? So instead of telling you that AI is 100% bad, we should avoid it at all costs, I'm gonna tell you something else. Look, the reality is, it's not up to you if you want to use AI or not. Because, okay, unless you want to be a TikTok girl, then sure. Let's be unemployed. Let's not listen to what your boss says, and let's get fired. But say you got a job, especially, I don't know, in design, business, accounting, law, legal stuff. I don't know, hell, even medical. Now medicals are using AI too. Any job ever. If you get into that job, congratulations, first of all. That's incredible. Can't imagine having a job in Big 2026. And secondly, your boss is gonna freaking tell you to use AI, whether you like it or not. Like, regardless of, look, design is probably one of the places where you don't want to use AI, especially for graphic design. And not for like the whole creativity reason or like the environmental protection reasons, okay? Your company does not fucking care about your mental well-being and your physical well-being. So let's talk about actual cash-making reasons. Look, AI photos are not usable for design. Here's why. Because design has to be vector. If design is not vector, you're gonna be able to like scale it afterwards. And when you print it out, which is, you know, publication, that's what graphic designer does a lot of the times, it's gonna look really bad, okay? It's gonna be blurry. So here's the thing. AI is pretty ineffective because it fucking doesn't work. At least, even if you use it, you're gonna need to edit it afterwards. And you wanna know a funny thing? Okay, that's not really funny, but like, you wanna know a good thing? Your boss is still gonna have you use AI in your workplace. And believe it or not, you're gonna have to listen to him. Unless you wanna lose your job. So instead of being a TikTok girl, I'm gonna tell, like, TikTok girl telling you, you should quit your job, girl, you go chase your dreams. Like, fuck AI, let's rebel against your boss. No, like, okay, like, maybe I'm raised East Asian, so that probably has something to do with society in East Asia, but I'm gonna tell you, like, if you want to freaking keep your job, you're gonna listen to your boss and you're gonna have to use it. But if you're self-employed, then you actually do get a say on if you want to use it or not, because now you're self-employed, you're the freaking boss. So whether you want to use AI or not is now up to you. Like, you get what I mean? Like, yes, it's ineffective, but like, look, you can try to explain that AI just isn't the best tool to your boss, and you will be faster than AI anyways in a real life scenario, because AI does things pretty slowly. After all, like the editing, this and that, getting the right picture, or getting like the right set of analysis. Whatever industry you work in, as a college graduate, especially if you have good grades, you have good internship, you have good experience, whatever, you have work experience, chances are you're going to be faster than AI. The thing is, because AI sounds technologically advanced, it sounds fresh, it sounds cool, your company will want to catch up with whatever that's trending right now. And AI is this fresh, shiny, trending thing right now. So, regardless of it, you're gonna have to use it. Yeah, I know. Terrifying. I know. Sad, sad. Hold on, I'm just gonna reply to my friend's message. Sorry about that, guys. I wish generating AI images doesn't exist. See, AI is useful in some areas. If it could help in medical, sure. If it could help in like organizing, maybe. Unless it takes away people's work, then probably not. But then at the same time, I do understand like one of the I'm not gonna be an ass and just say that I'm like I'm not gonna do like the politically neutral thing, but like, okay, first of all, maybe I grew up in East Asia, so I don't really find the problem of being politically neutral. But anyways, I'm not gonna talk about politics. Let's talk about like the whole AI thing. Look, I do see the point when people say that like when the world goes on, there's bound to be jobs that will be lost, and jobs like with any jobs that are lost, new jobs that just so happens to use a different system and does the similar thing will arrive. And for design, it's probably like AI integrated design or AI design. That's the new job. And if you still want to do design, then you might want to look into that, because you still want to make enough money to live, okay? As much as you hate it, it's not your say, because you're working in a corporate. The world works like that. But if you're self-employed, then, it's a different story. You get to do what you want to do. Which, congratulations. But at the same time, self-employed is not that easy. And especially if you're self-employed without working any full-time job, or like, okay, if you're self-employed, you still probably want to work in a part-time job, because if it doesn't work out, and a self-employed job, like, okay, say you're streaming, you're doing art, especially streaming, you're probably not gonna do this until like your 30s or 40s, most likely, right? And at the time when you graduate, or like when you decide to, I want to switch jobs, I want to move on from this, you're gonna go interview. And what are you gonna write on like your portfolio? You're just gonna say that you were streaming? Especially if you're like a corporate VTuber. You have an NDA, you can't tell your new company that I was this person. So you're just gonna have like a lot of, blank space in your portfolio, and your boss will probably not hire you because you have like a few years of non-working and non-studying time. Best solution, study while you work, or do part-time while you are self-employed. Then you can get to do what you want to do. This shit so confusing? Yes. It's okay, the Imperium of Men hates AI, so we'll be fine. Well, in reality, I don't want to be that one person, but like at the same time, look, I don't think AI should be used in art, but if a corporate uses it, I won't be surprised because that's how the world works right now. I mean, it's look, I don't think it's a good idea, but at the same time, I'm gonna be in the workforce, so it's not up to me to say if it's good or not. Like, I just want to make enough to feed my family, okay? I don't want to get fired and I want a job. I think that traditional jobs like digital art, traditional art will still exist, just like how handmade jewelry, handmade stitching, handmade crochet is still a real job, and people who have a lot of experience, have an established network, have a established like IP, their own brand, are very successful, and they likely learn a lot more than your average employee at a company. But well, you have to be really successful in it, and there's a lot of digital artists out there, and I don't think I'm I don't think I'm gonna make it as one of them. And honestly, I don't quite want to face the big pressure of being like a renowned artist or anything, so I'd just rather stay as like an intermediate or just like teach art classes. That's my life goal. I want to teach art classes. The Imperium of Man is a Warhammer 40k thing? I don't know. This is why you're so interesting. Like, I feel like the thing about me is that maybe I'm relatable, okay? Maybe I'm relatable. Like, look, because like probably the difference between me and other artists or VTubers, like other people will tell you to follow your dreams, and I will tell you like, frick it, pack it up, go work a job, and then do this as your side hustle or something. Because look, it's not like I'm as big as I'm making my full salary from streaming. I make nothing from streaming, okay? Virtually no money at all, and YouTube takes like 50% of my income. So say I earned $100, I only get $50. So that's not a lot. And my videos don't get the monetization does not do a lot. So I rely on super chats memberships for my whole income. Anyways, streaming doesn't make me any money. I'm still doing because I like it and I want to establish a personal brand. The real money I make is conventions and markets. Anyways, but what was I saying? Yeah. So obviously I don't make enough money from like this. So I understand what it's like to be a normal person because I am a normal person. I'm not a star. I'm not a famous person. Even though I might have some following on Instagram, I'm not famous at all. I'm not well known. And I'm just any other person in uni. I just sit in the uni, shitting on my assignments, crapping about why this is so hard, worrying about what's gonna happen after I die, worrying about like, oh my gosh, this is going on, that is going on, what do I do, what do I do, yada yada yada. So I feel like maybe one thing that makes me a little interesting, but it's also something that probably not a lot of people like, is that I'm relatable. Okay, maybe I'm not relatable, but I'm realistic. Like the whole thing I talked about, like the AI, and regardless of if you like it or not, you're gonna have to use it. I like to bet that a lot of people will tell you to quit your job or like don't use it at all costs or argue with your boss. But then I say, don't fucking waste your time arguing with your boss because it's not gonna work out. It's your freaking boss. It's who pays you. Unfortunately, he pays you or she pays you, whatever, right? And unfortunately, you probably have a family to pay, feed. And unfortunately, you might have rent if you don't live with a family. Okay, it's either you feed your family if you live with them, or you pay for rent and feed yourself. So what's going to happen after I die? Girl, aren't you 18? Okay, I'm 18, but then I have I have thoughts. Okay, don't demonetize me. I'm not saying I want to unalive. Like, I'm just saying that I have philosophical thoughts, okay? Isn't that what you're... Okay. I don't think any 18-year-old would... Like, haven't thought about this. Okay, I'm pretty sure an 8-year-old would have thought about this. So what I'm saying is like I'm just a realistic person. I'm walking, I'm breathing, I meet with people, I socialize, I play Genshin Impact, I fucking play a little bit too much. I miss my homework, I skip my college classes, and then, I have friends, and then I hang out with them, this and that, yada yada yada, blah blah blah, right? So, I guess what I say is like, I do find that my streams are rather like the advices I give are rather at like a realistic point of view compared to like a optimistic point of view. But that okay, for one, that's somehow people would think that that's not ideal, but at the same time, that's what makes it special. Are you good? Yes, I'm good. Okay, like don't worry about that. I'm doing great. I'm doing great psychologically. But yeah, I'm just saying like maybe that's partially what makes me special, I guess. It's the reality of it. Oh yeah, have I told you guys about like the whole story of me and thinking about interviewing into like corporate VTuber companies? Have I talked about that? Okay, so when I was a kid, COVID hit. I was like, okay, when COVID hit, I was probably like 11 or something. And then I started watching VTubers, JP VTubers. I grew up with like JP VTubers and some English YouTubers, mostly JP VTubers. Especially at Hololive, I watched Hololive a lot. So when I was a kid, I watched Hololive, and I one of my dreams was to be a VTuber because I grew up with it, and I was like, girl, this is so cool. I want to be one of them. I want to be the cool ones too. And so, like to plan it out, I thought about interviewing into corporates. So of course I read the applications, and well, to interview into any of these jobs, obviously you need to be 18 or at least 16. So I was like, when I turn into 18, I will interview into a corporate VTuber. And now I'm 18. Do I want to interview as a corporate VTuber? I want to. I still have this whole dream of being a VTuber, and I still want to work on it. I still like my dream and my goal in life is still to be a VTuber when I'm young, before I eventually have to suffer from grinding my job and grinding my ass off. But then now that I thought about it, as much as I want to, as much as I do think that I have a good stress tolerance, I don't think I'll ever actually become a corporate VTuber. Look, the thing about corporate VTuber is like you're almost guaranteed to be successful, especially if you went to big companies, because you get all the fame, you get all the like resources that you start off. And so I've always had this idea of being a corporate VTuber. That's my dream. That's my dream of my life. And when I am actually 18 right now, I gave up on that dream. But not in a bad way. When I say I gave up on this, I don't mean it in a bad way. I think it is a good decision. So here's why. Look, it's not like I don't want to be anymore. I still want to be a VTuber. Doesn't matter if it's corporate or individual. Better if it's corporate because stable salary, stable stuff, even though I gotta work my ass off. And there's like managers, this and that. But like, here's why I never ended up going to audition as a corporate VTuber. Look, it doesn't have to be a big company. I think I might have a chance going as a corporate VTuber in some smaller agencies, and they will still pay enough, okay? They will still pay enough for me to survive. The thing is, I've had a thought about it, and I decided not to. And this has something to do with long-term career. When I was a kid, I obviously did not have that much thought into like, hey, what am I gonna do after I not be a VTuber anymore? And of course, like, I know that this job isn't gonna last me like my whole life, but I also didn't think too much about, like, I just thought about, hey, then maybe I can be a cashier, maybe I can be a waiter, maybe I can be something. You see, there's nothing wrong with being a waiter. There's nothing wrong with being a kitchen. There is nothing wrong to being like a sales. Any of these jobs, I would be happy to work in it because I believe that society needs all of these like jobs. So even though society tells you that these jobs are shitty, I don't think it is. I will be proud working in these jobs, even if they have a low pay, okay? But anyways, see, if I worked in a corporate, and that's realistically the way you actually succeed, because your chances of succeeding as an individual is low. It's low as hell. But if you work as a corporate, you're gonna have to sign an NDA. So what that means is that regardless of how successful you are, look, literally, I could be Pekora right now. I could have the fame of Pekora right now. I could literally have the fame of Gargura right now. I graduate after 6 years, and I decide to go back to society. I'm gonna work as a cashier. Doesn't matter. I don't have to be a nurse. I don't have to be a teacher. I don't have to be a professional. I can work as a cashier, and they will still not take me. You wanna know why? Like, if you graduated as a corporate VTuber, chances are you're never gonna actually get a job. And you're gonna have to spend the next 3 years in your life trying to find a job. Because you signed an NDA. So that means that you cannot tell your new employer that you were a VTuber. And, okay, look, you can tell them that you were a VTuber, you were a live streamer, you worked in social media, you have experience in social media, but where's the proof? Because you can't say you were something, you were someone, you were this person in that company, you were Uruha Rushia in Hololive. You can't say that. So you can never prove it. So to human resources, it's just gonna look like you took 6 years break off of your life without doing anything. You weren't studying, you weren't working a lot. Hell, you weren't even working in a part-time job at all. So that's the real reason as to why I gave up being a corporate VTuber. Because an NDA is, well, for one, I don't know what I truly would feel like if I can't tell people about my identity. I can't tell people about what I'm working in. It feels like I'm working in some like FBI job or something. Like I can't tell people who I am. But the main part is what happens after I graduate. Like, if let's say I graduate and then I don't want to go back to being a VTuber anymore. I want to be in the society instead of streaming. Like work in the society workforce. What now? Like the chance of you getting a job, especially like a stable job, is really low by then. It's not just the whole human resources thing that I talked about. It's also about like you're gonna be so absorbed into the internet world that you will slowly get out of touch with whatever that's happening in real life. Especially in a corporate, you're expected to kind of be like an idol, so you're not really expected to talk about real life issues. You're gonna be an idol who lives in the second dimension. And so engaging in this whole like internet thing every day, you're gonna lose your connection to real life. You're gonna lose connection to what's going on. You're gonna lose common sense. And I'm not joking. Like working in an industry that intentionally separates you from real life will cause you to have disassociation. Like, it's not like I've worked in this, but I think we probably realize by now that this will obviously cause you disassociation from like normal life and normal society. And that's a big sacrifice, because I get to chase my dreams at a time of my life. I get to chase my dreams in my 20s or 30s, but what now? What after that? Like, sure, I might be in my 40s and thinking that, hey, maybe I should have taken that chance to chase my dreams back then. But at the same time, there's also times, like, there's also instances where I think that that's a really big sacrifice. The sacrifice is a little bit too big to justify chasing your dream. But that's not to say to not chase your dreams, because I think anyone who chases their dream is brave enough, and yeah, like, honestly, chase your dreams. But being a corporate VTuber is way too big of a sacrifice in my whole life career to engage in. That's why, like, look, it's not like I don't want to be a VTuber. I would be happy as a corporate VTuber, despite the whole, like, work your ass off thingy and the whole workload thing and, like, the toxic work environment. I still want to give a shot at it. But see, after considering all of the reasons I mentioned, I decided to not to. I decided to continue working this as a side hustle, continue enjoying this, and dream about it. Maybe this is one instance where dreams should stay dreams. Does the whole story make sense? Like, does the whole reasoning in the story make sense? Hi, Shino. You wanted to be part of Holozar as well? Because I like the boys a lot back then. Well, we can think about it. I wanted to be part of some VTuber agency too. Stupid. Hello, Mewmi. How are you doing? Hello, Mewmi. Oh, and if I were a VTuber, I probably needed really good English. And it's not to say that I don't have good English, but I have a very obvious accent. See, an accent's not gonna affect me that much, but at the same time, it is gonna affect you. Like, it's rooted in us. We are gonna look at someone who has an accent differently, whether you think you are, like, I'm not racist, okay? If you're racist, you're just evil, okay? But then at the same time, you genuinely feel like they're pretty different because of how they speak. And so having an accent, for one, I'm not gonna be able to get that job, especially in the voice acting industry. For two, even if I got the job, I'm gonna be inherently very different from other people. That is one sad outlook. Look, it might be a sad outlook, but it's also a realistic outlook. It's also more so I'm thinking about my actual career. Like, do I want to give up everything I have just to chase one dream? Like, it's like, okay, I'm chasing my dreams of being an illustrator. But am I giving up everything in precision? No. Because I can still chase this dream while working a part-time job, while working a full-time job, while studying a degree, maybe even studying a master's degree, postgraduate, whatever. I can still engage in it with my free time. I can still sacrifice a part of my studying time, work time to engage in it. Or I can, stream at night. I can go back home after my overtime work. Not paid overtime work, by the way, probably. I don't know, that's probably what happens in the workforce. But yeah, like, I can still engage with this when I'm in my free time. But that, being a VTuber, means giving up everything. And I don't think I'm ready to give up everything. Realism? I think so. I mean, look, obviously everyone has different life experiences. So whether you think my idea is realistic, or maybe I'm just being too, like, not nihilistic, but pessimistic, will be up to you. There's no right or wrong. Your opinions, your ideologies is going to be shaped by your experiences, your family, yada yada yada, this and that. But for me, that's just how it works. And well, unfortunately, I would conform to society because I know I'm not a special person. I know I'm anything but a special person. I'm a normal person. And even if I were to be special, even if I had, like, some really good art skills, some special talent, I don't have the conviction to be special. Depends on your conviction to be one. Yeah, it truly depends. So that's why I have a lot of respect for corporate VTubers. Sure, they might be making more money than we make in a year, in a month, but the conviction and like whatever they sacrificed to get to there definitely was like, okay, here's what I think. Corporate VTubers, obviously lots of work stuff, need to play games they don't want to, needs to do stuff they don't want to, but at the same time, they're loved, they're universally praised. Even if there were haters, you're more likely to have a lot of supporters. You can just ignore them. You get to play games as your job, you get to talk as your job, you get to look good as your job. But then beyond that, it's giving up your whole life career after that, because after your graduation, there's truly no going back. Being a VTuber, a corporate one, will be no going back. And I think a lot of people ignore this fact, and look, on the surface, it really isn't that bad of a job. It's a real good job. You get great, you get good salary with doing what you love to do. But I think it's the idea of like giving up everything in possession and your future just to be this person you want to be at present. Do I respect him? A lot. I really respect him, because it's not easy to, you know, be fully aware of that and still be able to give it up. That's why I respect them so much, and that's why I know I wouldn't be one of them. Why not go independent after graduating corporate though? Look, if you worked in this, if you worked as a corporate VTuber for 6 years, while like 6 or 10 years, 4 years, 2 years, 6 years, 10 years, that's your job every day, right? And chances are, look, because like being a VTuber, look, if you worked in a societal job, then you might be able to do something different while being in the same field. So say you're a designer, you might end up being a museum interior designer. You might end up being a promotional designer. You might end up being a multimedia designer. So you're doing something different, but you're still staying on the same track. You might get promotions, you might get some different stuff in your work after like maybe 2 or 4 years. But then being a VTuber is different. Regardless of if you are a corporate or individual, especially even after you graduate as corporate and then go to be an individual, you will like you will get the same supporters as you did. But then the thing is, you're doing the same thing as you did 6 years ago. That truly takes an impressive amount of dedication. Like, I don't think you would want to be working in the exact same thing every day for 6 years. As shit as an office job is, you are working in some different stuff every year, okay? There is gonna be events, there's gonna be something different. But as a VTuber, you're an idol. You're gonna stay that way. And there's no changing it, because as I said, the human resources is gonna fuck you over. Human resources are a pain in the ass. Like, human resources employees gotta be the most miserable people on the planet. But yeah, they're gonna frick you over. So yes, you can be an individual VTuber like Gura and Doki Bird did. They're very successful because obviously everyone knows they were Gura, they were Sil and Tatsuki. But that's only a part of them. Like, Minato Aqua, she's now an independent. That's only a part of them. For a VTuber like Kanata, she says she wants to like go back to society, right? And Pecora is telling her like, no, don't end up going to back to society. Please continue to work in the social media or like creative field, this and that. And Kanata said, no, I want to go back to society. I don't know how that's gonna go for Kanata because of the whole HR thing I talked about and like the whole disassociation from real life. But at the same time, you see, there is examples of people just don't want to work on the same things every day anymore. And I can understand that. As much as you're like shining on the stage, as much as you're loved by everyone, and you're still going to be loved by everyone because everyone knows that you were this person. So they're going to support you. They're still going to throw cash at you. They're still going to throw super chat at you. At the end of the day, do you truly want to work in the same exact job in the entirety of your life? I don't think a lot of people want to. There's only a few industry where you actually just end up working the same exact job for your whole life, namely teaching, medical, nursing. That's probably the only few jobs that you would end up working the same exact job in your whole life. That's a lot of dedication. I don't know if you realize it or not. I don't know. There's a lot of small corporate VTubers working as hard without the same rewards. Yes. And that's even worse. Because not only do they not get the same amount of fame, in order to help their company promote, like in order to help promote their company and expand their company, and especially if they're on the stock market, gosh, you gotta work overtime. You gotta work your ass off to get 10% or even 1% of the fame that big corporates do have. And you're getting not much in return. You're working your ass off. Your company doesn't pay you well because they generally don't have as much of a income as the big corporates do. And most likely, you're not any less than the, like, in their abilities or in your entertainment or your value as an idol, you're probably not any less than big corporate VTubers. Maybe you're even better than them, but people don't know you because of your because how small your company is. So, like, you know, I mean, I talk a lot. I talk about a lot of stories in my streams, like in my life, what mistakes I've done, what I've been trying to improve on, why this and that, why I didn't do this, why I didn't do that, or maybe why I made that mistake, or what I've been doing to try to like move on from that mistake. But this is like one of the stories that I haven't really talked deep into. It's the whole like why I didn't end up as a corporate VTuber thingy. True, it's my dream, but sometimes dreams are meant to stay dreams. But for those who were brave enough to chase their dreams, I salute to them. I have my respect for them. You are pretty special, to be honest. Well, I don't think I'm special. The only thing that separates me and other VTubers is that I'm not an idol. I'm a normal person. I'm your totally normal person who just wants to, you know, be able to get a stable job in life, whether I'm being paid well or not. I just don't want to get fired. I just want to be able to pay for my groceries. I just want to be able to freaking buy eggs because eggs are for some reason super expensive now. I want to be in a relationship. I want to find a partner. I want to get married at some point in my life. I'm your average person. I'm your average normal girl. That's the only difference I have with other VTubers. The fact that I'm totally normal, I'm not an idol, and I'm not trying to do something to cover up the fact that I'm a normal person. Not saying that other people do, but it's like, you know, because I want to try to like talk to people as, you know, as not like unequals, but like I want to talk to other people in a relatable manner because I am a relatable person. Sometimes, you know, not everyone has the same experience, so, you know. Guess I'm not a normal person? No, you are a normal person. Anyone is a normal person. It's just about how common your experiences were compared to other people. That might have to do with your background, your whatever, your salary, your life experiences, yada yada yada. It's more about luck. Tokino Sora was working as hard as for several years before whole life got becoming big. Dude, Sora's definitely the one person I respect a lot. Do I like her a lot? Do I think she's very entertaining? Not really. I mean, I'm a big fan of the Sankisei, like the third generation, and I've been a fan of them. But then does that mean that I don't like Tokino Sora? Definitely no, especially with how much contributions she's made to the industry as a whole, and how she almost single-handedly started Hololive and made it a big company. She's like, okay, like the ones that actually made Hololive very famous was like Fubuki and like the first gen and the second gen, but like and the third gen. But Tokino Sora, she's the OG. She's the one who persisted. She's the one who kept working in it. And that's incredible. I admire people like that so much. I mean, I don't know. I don't know if I'm an interesting person. Who knows? I just know that I'm a person that makes mistakes. I just know that I'm a person that fucks up. I'm a person who, just like any other person, literally, don't try to say you're not, by the way. We are all hypocritical. We're all narcissistic. We're all we're all arrogant. We all have an ego. We all fuck up. We're all that, and I'm no different from that. So you know, I'm the your average person that you wouldn't even bat an eye in, that passes through you, maybe in the bus station, maybe in the convenience store. Maybe you've seen me in real life. Who knows? Especially for like Petito, she or he lives in Brisbane, and I live in Brisbane. Chances are she's seen it before, but she doesn't know. Your average normal person doing her groceries, trying to get medicine, trying to find something in mall, getting lost in freaking CBD or something. Even Michael Jackson is a normal person? That big as a curse, maybe? Yeah, I think so. Like, at some point, being so big is definitely a curse. Imagine imagine the whole, like, pressure you go through with how big you are. Imagine having 1 million subscribers. The pressure? Gosh. And imagine how parasocial people are to you. Man. Like, it crazes me. Like, it disgusts me sometimes. Like, it disgusts me sometimes when, like, people, like, get mad at idols. Not just VTubers, I'm talking about, like, idols, entertainment, this and that, for having a partner. Bruh, it's normal to have a partner. What's wrong with them dating someone? What, you're not okay because that's not you? Imagine Mr. Beast. Oh god. Okay, to be fair, Mr. Beast is not exactly a good example because he ain't that good of... Okay, he is kind of a... Look, anyone isn't a good person. We all make mistakes, but the mistakes that Mr. Beast does is pretty crazy. So he's a little bit of a different example. I wouldn't say he's a good example, but yeah, imagine being like some extra popular VTuber. Gosh, the pressure, or like being some K-pop idol. Oof, I would quit my job. I would rather work as a cashier. At least the customer ain't gonna look at me and be like, why you have a boyfriend, bruh? Like, at least the customer's gonna look at me and like, why you not doing your job, man? Help me scan this item. Get me a bag. Why is this bag like 50 cents? You should give me that for free. I'm gonna report you to your manager. I would take that over like, why you have a boyfriend, bruh? You're meant to love me only and me only. When you make a mistake but you remember that's how you learn, so you keep going, yes. Any mistake is redeemable. Okay, unless you're a child predator, okay? Then maybe not. Well, that's why jail is there, you know? You go to jail, you redeem yourself, you go back. Okay, you know what? No. You get a redemption. That's why you don't get death sentence, I guess. Because you get a second chance at life. Call me crazy. I think everyone deserves a redemption. Unless you're like very, 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 very evil. You know who I'm talking about, but yeah. Unless you're those kind of person, you get a second chance. Oh no, my idol parasocial experience? Gosh, idol parasocial is really scary. Sometimes I wish I did a psychology or like a sociology, something like societal psychology degree, just so I can do research on these kind of stuff. I always found that no love rule for idols barbaric. Yes, I think so too. I talked about this, like, I have friends who love K-pop, And I've always, look, because I'm not into K-pop, I'm not into J-pop, I don't know any of the K-pop or J-pop people. So I've always asked them like, hey, what do you feel about like K-pop members being in love? Why do people get angry when they date? Aren't they just normal people too? And their response was like, usually people get mad because the way that the K-pop companies or like how the K-pop idols present themselves is deliberately presenting themselves as like, oh, I don't have a partner, I'm the perfect person, I'm the perfect girl imaginable, I don't make mistakes, I do perfect steps, I do perfect dance, I sing really nicely, I am the perfect idol that you could imagine and the imaginary girlfriend you could ever have, so praise me. That's like how they gain the money, and that's their primary income. It's by building parasocial relationships. And honestly, look, as fucked up as that is, I gotta kind of agree with my friends. Like, I now kind of see why it's so normalized. Because, look, it kind of really is selling that. The industry really is selling and making bucks based on building parasocial relationships. Is it the idol itself's problem? Most likely not. I'd say it's probably the corporate's problem. I mean, I like to believe that. Okay? Because if it is the actual idol that just wants to build like parasocial relationships, then honestly maybe they kind of deserves that treatment. But if it's the corporate, man, I feel bad. And it's probably the corporate. It's the way that they are sold. It's the way that they are presented. It's the way that they are marketed as. They're marketed as objects. They're not people, they're objects. That's barbaric, dude. That's crazy. It's like selling girls as objects. Isn't that crazy? And boys too. Like the boy bands and the girl bands. Regardless of what gender you are, it's like an object now. Your parasocial object. Your imaginary boyfriend. And it's not like they're a fictional character. Like, you know what? Playing Love in Deep Space? No shame, because it's fictional. Who cares if it's fictional, right? But a real life person? Gosh. Imagine the pressure. Wow. I can never be that person. Regardless, like, I can maybe... Like, I get all the love, I get all the praises, but man, I can never be that person. Idol industry runs of fans being parasocial, yes. And as barbaric as the whole idea and concept is, they're here to sell, and the fans are here to buy. So there's a demand and there's a consumption. And that's how the economy works. That's how the business keeps growing. Did an idol get fired for having Mel take a photo of her and they saw the reflection in a cup or something? I feel like that's... Man, maybe I've listened to stories like these too much. I'm not surprised at all. Gosh. K-pop idol starts training very, very young. That's a lot of problems. Yes, I agree. I saw like I don't know anything about K-pop, but like I heard about like one of the, I don't know what group that is, but I heard about a group that has like a 12 or like 13-year-old debuting. And wow, that's so fucked up. Like, imagine, gosh. Look, I don't know, man. I don't know who's more fucked up, the corporate or the parents. It's your kid. You're sending your freaking kid to an evil corporation? You're sending your kid to be an idol at 13? You know what that implies, right? You know you're stripping your kid off of their human rights. You're sending your kid to basically strip off their human rights. And without them knowing, like, they're 13, what do they know? They're not 18. Even if they were 16, they're probably a little bit too young to understand all of this. Like, it's not even they're 16, they're 13. Even if you were like 16, 17, 18, you might be a bit too young to understand all of this, but they're 13. They know nothing about their future career, they're dating, they might want to be something else, they have dreams on something else. Like, look, maybe they could say, maybe the parents say that, hey, my kid has been saying that they want to be an idol and they're really committed. Still, I would heavily judge any parent that does that. Like, I'm sorry. I'm not that good of a person either, but you're evil. There's level of like like there's level of morals, man. Girl, like imagine being a parent and sending your kid to be a K-pop idol. You know what that means, right? You know that means that your kid will never have a relationship because she's gonna get canceled for that. You know that your kid will never be able to choose what she wants to work in anymore. You know that you're starving your kid so your kid can have a good body and look good while dancing. You know you're ripping your kid all off of all her childhood fun, off of all her education, because of that whole idol thing you decided she will pursue. Wow. I like, man, like, look, I think the 13-year-old child didn't end up well. I think someone said that they tried to unalive herself, or it was someone else, and she was like supposed to not talk about it, which is really fucked up. But man, I don't know who's more evil, the corporate or the parents. Wow. Like, like, you know, whenever life gives me lemons and like whatever life tells me, whenever life fucks me up, I just remind myself I don't have parents like that. That's why I love my parents, man. I'm so glad my mom ain't like that. How did this go from an art advice to moral discussion? It always ends up like that in my streams because, you know, I love to discuss things like that. I love to discuss real life problems because that's what we grow through every day. Just wait till you know that J-pop idols can start 10-year-old and less. Gosh. Holy shit. What kind of parents even send their kids to do that, man? Wow. Like, what kind of, look, it's not like they're like, it's not like they're on children's shows. No, they're not children on children's shows. They're children in adult entertainment industries. They're there to sell as an entertainment idol. They're in an industry where it's mostly 20-year-olds, 30-year-olds, 40 years old, and maybe some unemployed people who just stuck on the screen and looking at those K-pop idols. What is this, man? You're sending your kid to work in that industry? Wow. Oh, you're gonna go? Alrighty, have a great night. I mean, I'm not. This stream is gonna end very soon too, but like, yeah. Fortunately, your average parent will only see the surface benefits like fame and money and even perfection. That's so fucked up, man. Like, imagine. Wow. How evil do you have to be to send your kid to do that? Like, what if the kids couldn't make it to be a popular star? Where should they do when most of their time spent for that sole purpose? Right? Like, I don't know about the industry enough to say if this is for sure, but I imagine they probably had to give up their education. They probably couldn't do a degree they wanted to do. They probably couldn't make friends they wanted to make because they were an idol. Imagine that. How evil of a person you have to be. Dude, the same kid you had for 10 months, you gave birth to it. You went through all of that pain and send your kid to do that. That's another kind of evil. That's not Asian parenting. That's not tiger parenting. That's actually evil parenting. Wow. What kind of person are you, man? What kind of person are you? Wow, man. Like, dude, Jesus, these kind of people, wow. I mean, I wouldn't say that deserve to end up in hell, but like, just think about your actions. The conversation always gets here, that's why I like this channel. Well, I'm glad you like it. I mean, I wouldn't discuss stuff like politics, but I will discuss social stuff like that. And the corporate too, like, well, I mean, corporates are here to make money, but still, selling underage children to potential 40 years old, unemployed, drooling over a capable idol, selling her, like a little kid, regardless of if it's like her or him, selling little kids like that to those weird people and earning money. How do you sleep at night? How do you sleep at night? How? You're right on the education part. I know some unsuccessful K-pop artists could not integrate back into society. Yeah. When I was in high school, there's like forums, like it's like Reddit. So there's popular, I mean, I'm sure that's like popular everywhere else too, but in Hong Kong, there's like school secrets. It's basically an Instagram page where like, if you're in high school, you're gonna know about that page. It's like a subreddit. It's kind of like a subreddit where you get to post and then people get to reply, and it's people who post on there are like school students, high school students. From time to time I see posts like, I would like to go to Korea to be a trainee idol, I would like to chase my dream and doing something. Usually the comments are like very two-sided. Some of them will tell them that, hey, follow your dreams, don't leave regrets for yourself. I'm a 30-year-old working this and that, and I regretted that I didn't try to follow my dreams. But some would tell them that, hey, I'm 30 years old, and I'm glad I didn't make that choice. Because I've seen friends who have made this choice, and they end up in this and that. It really isn't ideal. I think you should reconsider. There's this and that, yada, yada, yada. And looking at a lot of these posts, I just get to realize, like, look, I know none of these industries, but I truly get to see the two-sided view and arguments about, especially the entertainment industry. I feel like I realize a lot more than like just the surface. I would never look, for one, because I look on the forums, I look on to people sharing their real life experiences, especially people who have engaged with those industries, but also just people like talking about what could potentially happen and those that make sense. I get to learn a lot more than just the surface part. Like, years ago, I definitely would never have thought about like the whole, what about your future employment? What after that? What after you're an idol? Especially if you're an idol, you're not going to survive over 30 years old. You're probably going to, people are going to think you're starting to get old, blah, 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 right? What about your future after that? What are you going to do? Where are you going to work in? How are you going to reintegrate into society? I get to learn a lot of these things that I've never thought about. And yeah, like, I realized a lot of this. And that made me realize, like, if I never dug deeper than the surface, not to say that I'm smart, I'm not, but then at the same time, I'd like to believe that a lot of people probably didn't as well. Both points are kind of valid. Yeah, both are valid. Like, for one, don't give up on your dreams because, research or like unofficial research says that when people get old, like interviewing old people, I think like the overwhelmingly of like majority of them says that I regret because I didn't do something, instead of I regret because I did something. Like, I regret because I didn't try out this, rather than I regret because I did try out this. But then who knows, like, it's easier to say that I regret that I didn't do this than I regret doing this, because you never did that to start with. So you also never had to overcome something that you will have to if you actually started that. So who knows? Like, is there real life experience? Old people with wisdom says that with life experience says that they regret not trying this out when they were young. But they only get to say they regret not trying out this because they didn't try out this. If they did, they might say that I regret trying out this. So who knows? Like, I don't know. I'm just gonna take that as a piece of advice. I mean, I'm glad I have parents that, talk about these with me, so. But at the same time, I often remind myself that it's never the end of life. Whatever you do, there probably is a solution. It's never the end. Maybe you can, work in another industry. Maybe, I don't know, like maybe you want to do something else. Who knows? Life comes at you at wondrous ways. So, buy ETF when you're doing okay as idol and then live on the internet as the rest of your life out of 30 years. Nah. Hear me out, Mew. Hear me out. Instead, start like a television show. Start a real life television show called Life I Was an Idol. Or write a book about I Was an Idol, blah blah blah. That book would probably do really well. You know what? Matter of fact, write 2 of them. Here's my business plan here. See, I might not be the brightest person, but I have some business plans. Don't only write 1 book, write 2 of them. 1, you're gonna write about my life about being an idol and why I regretted being an idol. That book, make it like I regret being an idol because I missed out on so much education. I missed out on having a stable salary for the rest of my life. I missed out on social interaction. I missed out on the university degree. Your customers are gonna be parents. Your customers gonna be the parents, okay? They're gonna be happy buying this. And then write a 2nd book about this was my experience of being an idol and I would never regret it. In the 2nd book, you're gonna write about I'm so glad I was an idol because I get to experience all of this. Sure, maybe I don't have a stable salary now. Maybe I don't get to do this now. But man, this was the experience that no one else, but only me, only I myself get to have. And you know who your target audience is gonna be? 13 years olds that probably want to be idols. Not only will they buy your book from both demographics, they're gonna argue about it. So their parents are gonna tell you, hey, read that book, she says this. And your kid is gonna tell you, read this book, she says this. Get 2 of them at once. 2 demographics, win-win. I'll record my experience training and becoming an idol and we'll see my thoughts in the future. Start a YouTube channel actually. Start a vlog YouTube channel. Like, I don't know, I'm not a businessman, but pretty sure that's how business works. Like, who cares if you're honest or not? You're making cash. Corporate mentality. Oh, capitalism at its finest. Okay, I'm gonna complete this curl and call it a day, because I've been streaming for 2 hours. Okay, I think I'm done for today. Yeah, I've done enough for today. That's not, too bad. That's that's some progress. I would say you're smart, I say I'm not smart, but sometimes I'm a smart ass. Sometimes I'm smart. Well, anyways, we talked a lot today. We talked a lot about different topics today. That's so nice. We're gonna talk about something else the next stream. As I always say, I'm a normal person, I'm a relatable streamer, I'm a realistic streamer, so realistics attracts realistics. Anyways, thank you so much for joining the stream. It's been a great ride today. Hope everyone has a good night. I don't think anyone watching my stream. Oh, well, to people in Europe, have a great day. To people in Asia, have a great night. Thank you so much for joining the stream. Have a great day tomorrow. Wait, tomorrow's Saturday. Oh well, for students, have a good break. For people in the workforce, yeah, no choice. Get back to your overtime work, unpaid by the way. Anyways, bye. Bye bye.